The issue is that I made a video titled Bill Maher Thinks Pedophilic Child Rape is Funny. It's not just my statements, it's actual video and audio from his own show. Well, atheists came to his rescue because they function so much as a cult of personality hero worshippers. They couldn't even bring themselves to say, yeah, you know what, in this case he was dead wrong. He shouldn't have said that. But they didn't. Instead, they told me I was misunderstanding the video and audio which I could see in front of my face just like anybody else. So I made a follow-up video called Atheists Defend Bill Maher Laughing at Incestuous Pedophilic Child Rape. And I'll play both of these videos in a moment. Well, they basically said the same exact thing. I'm misunderstanding Maher. He's only laughing at religious people. He's not laughing at the actual child rape, even though he is, his audience is. He's holding up anyhow. Well, you'll see it. It's so distasteful I don't even care to describe it. Well, now I will end this video after showing those two with a video of Bill Maher very clearly coming to the defense of a predator, a woman who's 35 who had a child by a 14-year-old little boy. And there's Bill Maher just openly supporting her. So this was not, as in the other two videos, about incest, and it was not very young age pedophilia, but still 14-year-old and 35-year-old, an adult with a child. And there's Bill Maher very clearly, very openly defending it.
So I was reading in the news this week this story about Christians in this country, Baptist people, who are sponsoring something called purity balls. Now, when I hear about religious people holding balls, I usually think of Catholics, but this is the creepiest thing I've ever heard, and I've heard some creepy things from the Christian right. A purity ball is like a prom for a dad and his daughter, where dad gets in a tuxedo and the daughter gets in a gown, and they go to this ball, and he puts a ring on her finger and feeds her wedding cake, and she pledges to stay a virgin until she gets married. And then dad has sex with her in the car. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But what century are we living in?
That's just weird. That's just completely weird.
It's all over, though.
It's in 48 states they are doing this. And I mean, what era are we living in where the man passes the daughter from dad to the husband? You know, that's what they used to do. That's what the Taliban does.
Where dad plays husband to the daughter. At the prom.
Well, you know, we went online for their website. I'm not kidding. These are T-shirts that are available on these Purity Ball websites. Look at this. This is not a joke. Abstinence Avenue, exit when married. Look at this one. Notice. No trespassing on this property. My father is watching. Look, here's one on panties. Now, if you're close enough to read this, I'm guessing the game is up. So, we found some others. I'm not gonna lie, these are the bull ones we made up that are even funny. World's greatest cocks.
Oh, no.
I'm with horny. Oh, I love this one. What happens in Vegas happens to someone else. My father went to third base and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
No.
And my favorite. So, anyone want to weigh in on this before I talk about the U.S.?
It's nice that, you know, that dads, you know, want to keep their daughters pure. That's nice. But this is just weird. And And why don't you want your sons to be virgins too?
If you're slipping a ring on your daughter's finger and eating wedding cake, trust me, you're plotting to f the babysitter.
I'm guessing I'm the only person here who's been to a father-daughter dance.
You have been to a purity ball?
Well, I haven't been to a purity ball, but I've been to
I've been to a father and daughter dance.
And in fact, I was there with my daughter at one this spring, and it was a pretty uncomfortable situation for everybody. And this sounds like it makes it all worse. But here's something that does need to be said. I mean, that there is a lot of social science research, and the mayor will know it well, that shows that the relationship, the close relationship between fathers and children, sons and daughters, has an enormously powerful impact on how those kids turn out in life. And in fact, that you can cut, that if the father is present, you cut the kid's rate of succumbing to all kinds of problems, from dropping out of school, from getting into trouble with the law, from getting pregnant when she's a teenager, by 2/3. And it is a dramatic thing. So this sounds kind of gross, but there is a good thought here that people need to hear, which is fathers really matter.
I think fathers need to be realistic with their kids too, and I think part of the problem with the same movement of people is they won't teach about safe sex. They won't prevent pregnancy that way by teaching about safe sex. And I think it's the same kind of movement that is unrealistic about sex in teenagers that creates more problems than it fixes sometimes.
And responsibility of young men.
And the
Absolutely.
statistics show that the kids who do this kind of stuff and take abstinence pledges wind up having a lot more sex than the other kids do. It's in the mouth and in the nasty place, but you know, they keep
the evidence. Yeah.
That
is the evidence.
Right.
It doesn't work. It's not.
That's right. And look, I mean, look, I'm not the one to talk. A lot of women in the United States have called me daddy, but.
So what would you rightly and logically conclude if somebody makes a statement and then they laugh right afterwards? Well, you would rightly and logically conclude that they thought the statement was funny. Okay, that's just standard. It's just basic. It's just logical. So I posted a video about the fact, based on such a basic conclusion, that Bill Maher thinks that incestuous pedophilic child rape is funny. Why? Because he said this.
But this is the creepiest thing I've ever heard, and I've heard some creepy things from the Christian right. A purity ball is like a prom for a dad and his daughter, where dad gets in a tuxedo and the daughter gets in a gown, and they go to this ball, and he puts a ring on her finger and feeds her wedding cake, and she pledges to stay a virgin until she gets married. And then dad has sex with her in the car. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But my father went to third base, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. No. And my favorite.
Of course, his statement's so shockingly unethical and disgusting. But hey, his audience is right along there with him, laughing it up. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Now, when I posted the video, I predicted, not much of a prediction, of course, in the info section, that there are atheists who would come to the defense of the fact that Bill Maher thinks that incestuous pedophilic child rape is funny. And what they would do, instead of condemning him for that, they would attack me for pointing out the fact that he thinks it's funny. And wow, guess what happened in the comments section? Let's see. Well, atheists made excuses for Bill Maher, and they attacked me for pointing out what he did. Like I said, not much of a prediction, because that's the cult of personality, leader worship kind of standard that many atheists go by. You know, Bill Maher, he's one of our guys. We cannot believe what we just saw, so instead we'll make an excuse and we'll attack whoever pointed it out. Now, why was I able to make such a prediction? Well, one thing to think about is that if you hold to such a worldview that makes you make excuses for people that think that incestuous pedophilic child rape is funny, and then makes you attack the people who point that out, that might be a good indication that you need to formulate a new worldview. But it got me thinking, why? Why do they do that? Why do atheists do that? Why are they so desperate to protect their own and not condemn something so blatantly unethical and just disgusting all around? And why would they treat evidence? I mean, this is just a video and audio recording. It's right there in front of your face. You can view it. You can pause it. You can rewind it. It's right there. You could read the transcripts for that matter. Well, I think it's because of the way that atheists take evolution and turn it into a worldview, and that which comes with having to do that. Because biology is the science, but evolution is a philosophy. So let's say, for instance, you make a scientific observation about slight differences between finches, and then you plug a philosophy into that observation, and the philosophy tells you that therefore they must evolve not just come from one single kind of bird, but come from one common ancestor. Of course, the common ancestor being a mythological chimera, because evolution, well, it's a branch of cryptozoology. And so they're brought up under evolution to accept statements such as made by Francis Crick and Richard Dawkins, who literally state that as a biologist, you constantly have to keep in mind that what you're looking at was not designed. Okay, you have to constantly keep that in mind, because you know what you're looking at was designed. So you have to force yourself to constantly repeat like some kind of brainwashing mantra. It was not designed, it was not designed, it was not designed. In other words, force yourself into believing that you're not seeing what you're really seeing. Then formulate a philosophical explanation for it. And let's replace the word explanation with the word excuse. They just invent an excuse just to explain away what they're literally looking at. And then, since they have taken what is supposed to be a theory about biology and they have turned it into a worldview, then they will attack anybody who dares to question their worldview. And that's why people get so heated about issues that are just supposed to be about biology. Because you're not really talking about biology. At least that's not what they hear. What they hear is you attacking the core of their worldview. And it seems to me that is why atheists can literally watch a video of a man proving by his actions that he thinks that incestuous pedophilic child rape is funny, and they refuse to believe what they just saw and heard. Then they reinterpret the evidence to fit their worldview. Oh, he must have done it because of that. Oh, he really wasn't doing that. He was really thinking the other. So they're inventing quaint little stories, things they could not possibly know. They're just little emotional band-aids, because they're claiming to know what Bill Maher was really thinking, or what really happened, what he was really up to. Without evidence, they're just inventing quaint little Darwinian stories. And then they turn and they attack you for pointing out the facts, for just providing a video, an audio, a transcript, for providing evidence that anybody could view, could hear, could read, and come to basic conclusions. So that, it seems to me, is what happened in this situation. And I seem to get a lot more comments about it on my backup channel than my regular channel. But yeah, it definitely is time to change your worldview when you act in such a manner. So it would be a display of some level of integrity to just come out and say, yeah, you know what? Bill Maher's a fellow atheist, so he's a comrade, but in this case, he was definitely inappropriate, and I do condemn him for it. Of course, you would have to provide a premise upon which to condemn him, because atheists love to just come out full guns blazing and have no premise upon which to base what they're doing, but that's another issue. So I think what we see is just the unfortunate byproducts of a Darwinian worldview, mindset, philosophy, and also even more evidence that atheism is really, at bottom line, nothing but an anti-Christian support group.
In here. I mean, a 14-year-old doesn't have all the sense. A 35-year-old woman should have more sense than having what do they have, conjugal visits? Like, how did she get pregnant in prison?
No, she was out
for a while.
She was out on parole, and obviously their love was so strong that they still wanted to see each other.
Yeah.
I don't understand why all of you who are so hip...
What is love? Define love. Like,
define love. If we could, we would have, but we can't. It's something that happens between two people, and these are the two people.
But love can be defined at least a little bit. Is a 14-year-old really capable of all the things of having 2 children and a family and a deep relationship with a much older woman? Is he capable of processing all of that? Were you able to do that when you were 14?
Yeah, financing the kids' well-being as he gets ready to hit 10th grade? What's up with that?
All right, well, as usual, the entire panel is wrong. You said it's rape. How does a woman rape a man?
I have written down a few questions. 1, have you ever killed a woman? How many women have you killed? Please, sir, will you not kill me?
Please, sir, will you not kill me?